Good morning and welcome to 5 Minute Fresh Start. I'm Sebastian Lucido. We're studying provision and protection of the Lord this week. And we're going to study today out of Mark chapter 6 about the miracle of the loaves. Verse 35, it says, "And when the day had been far spent, his disciples came to him and said, 'This is a desert place, and already the hour is late. Send them away that they may go in the surrounding country and villages and buy themselves bread, for they have nothing to eat.'" And, verse 37, "But he answered and said to them, 'Give them something to eat.' They said to him, 'Shall we go buy 200 denarii worth of bread and give them something to eat?' But he said to them, 'How many loaves do you have? Go and see.' And when they had found that, they came back and said that we have 5 loaves and 2 fishes. Now just stop for a second. Okay, the Bible's going to tell us here that he feeds 5,000 men, which most commentators believe there's between 15 and 20,000 people. So a couple of things. He provokes that. He knows what he's going to do. He provokes his disciples because he's trying to train them how to live without lack. He says, "Give them something to eat." They begin to look at each other. One of them responds and says, should we go spend 200 denarii worth on bread? 200 denarii is 200 days' wages. So it's a little over, a half a year or 3/4 of a year's wages that they're estimating to feed this crowd of people. So if, say, today, $50,000 somebody, it's actually go spend 35 or 40,000 to feed these people. Then he says, "Go see how many loaves you have." Why would he say that? I mean, are they going to magically have enough to feed 15 or 20,000 people? There's a purpose to it. There's a purpose because Jesus wanted to show them, and this is a biblical principle, that God can multiply what we have into something that we can't even fathom. So they come back and say, "We have 5 loaves and 2 fishes." Which would feed one of them, maybe 2 of them. Verse 39, he commanded them to make them sit down in groups on the green grass, and they sat in ranks of 100, so groups of 150. When he had taken the 5 loaves and 2 fishes, what did he do? Jesus looked up to heaven, blessed and broke the loaves, gave them to his disciples, set them before them. The 2 fishes he divided among them all. So they all ate and were filled. They didn't just eat, they were filled. They took up 12 baskets full of fragments of both bread and fish. Now those that had eaten were 5,000 men. So not only did they feed the 5,000, but they fed the 5,000 so they were filled. And so the principle here is, we look at the lack, and he's trying to condition them to look away from the lack and to look at God. Tomorrow's broadcast will show us that he was even angry at them because they experienced this twice. In our lives, we can't take inventory based on what we have or don't have. Yesterday we talked about the Egyptians pursuing God's people. What did they see? They seen hopelessness, the inability, not having enough strength, not having enough to overcome, not seeing a way out. It's the same thing with the 20,000 that he fed today. He does this twice. But what he did was he trained them to say, okay, we're going to take what we have and we're going to pray that God would multiply this to satisfy a need. This is a biblical principle. It's a principle. We do this with our tithes and our offerings. When God gives us, the ability to give to ministries, to our church, to our ministry, what we're doing is we're planting a seed that can bring much more fruit. And so God is the God of multiplication. His kingdom functions this way. And so let's not look at what we don't have. When it looks like we're in lack, let's look to God, because with God there is no lack. In his kingdom there is no lack. And so we need to change our paradigm to say there's always going to be enough. In fact, James chapter 1 says, perfection is seeing no lack or being content. Our time's up today. Please share this with a handful of friends and family. Help us grow our audience. Help us get more listening to 5 Minute Fresh Start. It's not on our website yet. We're redoing our website. It's on YouTube and it's on Facebook. Please share it, though, and help us grow our audience. God bless you, and may God's face shine upon you today.